Hello everyone. In my previous video, I converted a frog design for woodwork into STL file for 3D printing. You can find the video link in the description below. Today, I'm thrilled to showcase another project from that exact same book, The Hungry Hound. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. The Hungry Hound is supposed to have a tail that moves in sync with the back wheels. I have decided to use a servo motor for the tail. There is a little cam in the STL files, which can be attached to the back axle or shaft to actuate the tail as the back wheel rotates. This is one of the earliest video I recorded while working on this project. For most part of this project, I have used knurled insert, which needs to be pressed into the 3D print using something hot, like a soldering iron. Although, there is a press one can buy to make this process easier and better. The tail includes a shaft, which aids alignment. The shaft should be screwed into the tail as shown in the video. However, it can be omitted without affecting the functionality of the tail and servo assembly. The assembly process for the Hungry Hound involves inserting the two shafts into the main body, before attaching the wheels. Then, the feet can be secured using the 3D printed bolts. It's important to mention that there is a cam available for attachment to the back shaft, even though it may not be shown in this demonstration. This cam serves the purpose of actuating the tail as the wheel rotates. It seems that the wheels in this project provide a better grip on the worktop compared to the ones used in the Frog project. This improved grip could enhance the functionality and maneuverability of the Hungry Hound. The tool used for these nuts comes from a previous project. In the next video, when I release the STL files for this project, I will also include the STL file for this tool. I'm going to swiftly cover it up and attach the head for a brief demonstration. However, I don't expect the head to work perfectly since I had to modify the design. To ensure smooth movement, I used a file to clean up my initial print. This was a measure to save some filament for another project. In this demonstration, it is evident that the head does not move freely. Consequently, I will need to reprint the head. Although I had hoped to avoid a wasteful second print in this project, but it appears necessary to ensure the desired functionality and a successful demonstration. Alright, I will now remove the cover and replace the forward shaft with two small geared DC motors. These motors are N20 DC motors, However, it is unfortunate that they do not come with encoders. Each motor has a housing that securely attaches it to the main frame of the Hungry Hound. The housing is fastened using M2.5 bolts and nuts. The first step in the assembly process is to press the M2.5 nuts into the slots provided, as shown here. This video showcases an earlier test of the housing, which was created during the design phase. After inserting the nuts into the motor housing, the motor can be positioned within the main body and securely fastened. For attaching the shaft to the wheels, I utilized grub screws. This step can be executed before or after mounting the motor to the main housing. It's essential to be aware that extremely small grub screws, 2 mm size, and a 0.9 mm Allen key are required for this process. In future projects, I will make efforts to avoid such tiny sizes for 3D printed projects like this. Once the motor is installed, you can attach the wheel to the motor and securely fasten it using the 3D printed nut. For tightening the nut, you can use the nut tool or, if available, a proper socket spanner will do the job as well. Alright. Time to work on the legs, or should I say, limbs. Recognizing the front upper limb is easy, just look for the one that requires the longer bolt. This serves as a useful visual clue during the assembly process. It helps ensure that you attach the limbs correctly and avoid any potential issues with the Hound's movement. And it's essential to note that the limbs are mirrored. Pay attention to the assembly. When fitting them, the inner curve of the upper limb should face downwards, and the upper limb should point forward. Actually, I nearly made a mistake here and attempted to attach the left limb to the right side of the Hound. If you do it incorrectly, the front and back limbs might make contact and cause a jam. So, make sure to get the orientation right. And this applies to both the DC motor and the straight shaft options. The front lower limb has a bigger foot compared to the one for the back. Alright, now that all the parts are identified, I'll just zip through the assembly. Let's get this Hound up and running in no time. Here's the setup I used for the test, a bit of a messy contraption I must say. This setup includes the PWM signal for the tail servo motor and the power for the servo. Additionally, it features a motor driver for the two motors, a header for the battery, and the DC to DC converter board. To control everything, I'm using an STM32 Nucleo 32 dev board. For now, I'll swiftly connect all the components and demonstrate the setup. Keep in mind that the dev board won't work without a USB connection. This is because the microcontroller is held in reset by default, and USB power is required for it to come out of reset. To address this, I'll need to do some soldering, but I'll save that for later as I'm not quite ready to enclose everything in a box just yet. The wiring seems wrong. I need to swap the motor cables. That looks better. I'll just push the boards into their respective slots. First, the motor driver. I'll leave the dev board out for now as I need to do a few more things with it. There's a slot for this board, but I think I'll hot glue it on instead. Next, the DC to DC converter board needs to be pressed into the slot. I'll quickly wire this up, and then we can proceed. With the battery plugged in, all that is left to do is enable the MCU, and we can run a quick test. Thanks a million for watching, and I genuinely appreciate you taking the time to view my video. I'll address some design issues and release the STL files in the next video, so please stay tuned.